Oi, it's your boy, I'm the vegan. I'm gonna make a quick little video because I felt the need to make this video. I was just, you know me, these pesky vegans, they just, but it's not just vegans, I'm just my nature. I just like to argue with people and create conflict and debate and stuff. The reason I'm making this video is because I came across a comment regarding, there was a YouTube comment regarding how like vegans are spoiled and it's a privilege to be vegan and to eat vegan, and how like poor children, they would eat anything they're given, and this person, whoever he is, no harm, nothing, not to be hateful or anything, but he or she made a point of talking about like how is an Inuit or someone who lives in an island going to be vegan, and I just find these examples, these hypothetical scenarios absurd. The thing is, when we're trying to convince people to go vegan, we're not talking about someone who doesn't have access to the internet. If you're watching this video right now, that means you can be vegan, and it's not a privilege to drink a banana with some sugar in it. This cost me probably like £1 maybe to make, and there's so much calories in there and energy that will keep me going for a couple of hours. So I find it absurd to claim that being vegan is a privilege. I don't understand how eating bread and pasta and beans, which I do a lot, and fruit and vegetables, cheap fruit and vegetables, none of that exotic stuff, is a privilege. I mean, you could go as far as argue and say that living in the Western world, you having internet and watching me on YouTube is a privilege in itself. Let's talk about Western privileges. Nobody talks about that. Everybody's like, it's the vegan diet is a white man's diet, or we're trying to convince people to go vegan who are living in the developed world. Developing countries have access to internet, have to shop. That's how we're not trying to. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult, or maybe virtually impossible, if you're living in the wild, to just survive off plants. But I don't understand. It's not an excuse to not eat plants, because one, it's really cheap. It's extremely cheap. You can make it so cheap, you can make it work, and tasty as well. And two, it's not a privilege. Unless if you live in the Western world or developed countries, even in China, even in Thailand, it's cheap to be vegan. Rice and vegetables. I don't understand how it's a privilege when meat and animal products are the most expensive commodities. Not commodities, flesh, whatever you want to call it, are the most expensive products you can buy in food shops. Sure, they're slightly cheaper if you go for vegan junk food. That's because the government subsidizes it, because dollar bill, they get subsidies, which makes them cheaper. Why is cow milk so cheap when the production cost of it is highly inefficient and extremely expensive? It's such an expensive process. Yet milk is like, 50p in England? £1 maybe for 4 pints? 150? That is absurd. That's because it's government subsidies. And if you take, I know I can get some really cheap soy milk for 50p in Aldi. Or I can go get some really expensive. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say here is being vegan is not a privilege. And let's just talk about the diet. Eating a whole food plant-based diet is not a privilege, because in China in the 70s or whatever, when they were extremely poor, they were really healthy because they followed a whole food plant-based diet consisting of rice, fruit, sugar, vegetables, and it wasn't a privilege, But then the white man came and brought this diet, the Western diet, which just ruined the whole planet, the whole world. And the problem I have is these people claim to say it's a privilege, and then they go to the shop and buy meat and stuff. I feel it's like a slap on a poor child's face. Those kids who are in severe global poverty, right? They starve every day just because they don't have bread, But there's enough crops in those poor countries that the farmers in Western countries or developed countries buy from them, It's absurd. You could feed the whole planet right now we're on plants because there's enough plant food to sustain the whole population. But no, it's a privilege to be vegan. So we must eat meat. So we must eat eggs because, you know, it's a privilege. It's so hard to eat pasta and cheap vegetables and beans. It's so hard. It's such a privilege. I just find it absurd, and I find it a mute point, you know. And that's that. Thank you for watching. You know, this is the kind of videos I like enjoying doing. The one I'm angry and I'm really passionate about. The ones that I find frustrating, you know, these YouTube comments. Why do I even bother? Because it's a massive waste of time, and the only people who will try this lifestyle are the people who are open-minded, you know, who don't have preconceived notions of how the world works, you know. Because if you if you're a real truth seeker, if you dig deeper into academic research and whatever empirical evidence, you will find that the global order, the global world order, is set up that way. Anyway, that's besides the point. I'm just saying being vegan is not a privilege. Eating plants is not a privilege. In fact, it's a very cheap lifestyle. You know, just because you see influencers posting pictures of extremely expensive vegan products doesn't mean that everyone does it. That's just not how things are, you know? I mean, there's a Facebook group called Cheap Poor Vegans, you know? It's way more cheaper to be vegan than it is to be a consumer. To consume animal products and buy them and whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I just wanted to get this off my heart and stuff. So thanks. I appreciate it. And carb the fuck up. And I'll see you out there. All right.